Welcome to Screw the Commute, the entrepreneurial podcast dedicated to getting you out of the car and into the money. With your host, lifelong entrepreneur and multimillionaire, Tom Antion.
Hey everybody, it's Tom here, and this is episode 18, and we've got a guy on this episode that's doing some really, really great things. You're going to hear about Al Johnson in a minute. Don't forget, episode 17, Jerry Teplitz was here and talking about rewiring your brain, and he's got a program called Switched On Internet Marketing that I collaborated with him on. So you want to check out episode 17 for that. And then our sponsor is the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia. It's a place where you can get marketable skills in about 6 months in high demand, and you won't be buried in debt for the rest of your life like a typical four-year college. All right, let's get to the main event. Al Johnson created the Bullies Be Gone Project. It's a national award-winning program for children and adults. For 32 years, Al has taught thousands anti-bullying, safety, awareness, self-confidence, and racial harmony. His program's objective is self-empowerment training for children and teens that prevents and protects against bullying. Al, are you ready to screw?
Yes, Tom.
The commute. All right. Yeah. Well, hey, Al, tell everybody what you're up to.
Well, Tom, I'm teaching the anti-bullying program that you just described so eloquently all over California, and the goal is to get it across the country and to make sure thousands and thousands more of children and their families become self-empowered.
Boy, this is a big issue in today's society, isn't it?
It's huge. It's huge. And the more I teach it, the more I find out that so many children are not prepared for the basics and how words just destroy and deflate their self-esteem and their whole well-being. And I intend to do something about that.
Yeah, and this says life and death consequences, doesn't it?
Life and death, without a doubt, because 4% of the suicides of children under 12, no, it's 12% actually, are directly related to anti-bullying, or directly related to being bullied. And then even children 12 and older who commit suicide, it's directly related in many cases to bullying.
Wow, this is serious stuff you're involved in, and we really thank you for it. We're going to come back to that a little later to give us some tips on what we can do as regular civilians. I don't even have kids, but boy, it infuriates me to think that this stuff is going on. So, exactly. Did you ever have a job?
Oh yeah, Tom, I had more than one job, without a doubt. Yes.
What did you used to do?
Well, I was a full-time teacher at special education in high school. I was in banking, and the last thing that I did, I was actually an insurance agent for a major company, and I was studying to be a financial advisor, getting ready to take the Series 66 and the Series 7 tests, and that's not too many years ago. That's recent. And I'm going, what am I doing? What's my purpose? And I said, all this mess is not my purpose. I need to change my perspective.
Well, was there a particular moment, or did this grow over time? Did it grow out of what you saw when you were a teacher? How did you decide to get into this anti-bullying thing and take it on full blast?
I decided actually, it started, Tom, by accident. In 1985, I was teaching special education full-time. I was running a martial arts school in Redondo Beach, part-time, and I was teaching the martial arts for one of the neighboring cities in suburbs of LA. And they were having a huge child molestation case going on in at a daycare center in that city, and the city was in an uproar. And so they asked me, and I was surprised, could I start a program that wasn't a full-blown martial art program, but one that taught kids safety, awareness, self-confidence, anti-bullying and that type of thing. I'm going, wow, that's interesting.
This is in 1985?
1985,
I didn't think they invented bullying till later.
1985.
Wow.
So I took up the challenge and said, okay, let's do it. And it started from there. It was first for kids ages 5 to 15. And it was a 6-week program. Then it graduated. It is now an 8-week program and for ages 9 to 17 and adults.
Now, when you say program, what does this look like? All the kids go to camp with you, or you go to their school? How does it work?
I basically go to their locations wherever they happen to be. Let's say that there's a scout troop that meets on every Friday at XYZ location, and they want to actually do the full program. So I says, okay, let's set it up. And we set up the program, and I will go to their location and actually teach the program. And now I have it online, so there's an online process too, because I can't be everywhere at the same time.
Right.
And I'm also now beginning to certify others to be able to teach the program, so we can expand it a lot wide, in a broad basis.
Mm-hmm. And how is this funded? Like if a school or a scout troop wants to bring you in, how does that work? Is it sponsors, or how does it work?
The school funds it, or the parents fund it. We're going to be looking at a grant that just came out, a government grant where they cover social and behavior problems. We're going to be looking at that and actually applying for that particular grant. And then the parents pay for it. So it's school funded, parental funded, and organizational funded.
So you have to learn grant writing, I guess, huh?
Yeah, well, I'm looking for a good grant writer now because I'm not going to do it myself.
I actually know one that was in my mentor program, and he's in California. So, yeah, I can put you in touch with him.
Please do, Tom. Please.
Yeah, and if he can't do it, he probably knows everybody that does this. He's been doing it, as far as I've known him, 15 years or more. So, and I think his dad did it too. So I'll put you in touch with him when we get offline.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah,
Appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. Anything that I can do to help. Like I said, I don't have kids myself, but it does infuriate me that these things are going on, and I want these children to be able to handle it. That's for sure.
Well, you know what, Tom? I'm like you. I don't have kids either, because parents will say, they'll look at me and I'll work with their kids, and they'll go, "God, you must be a great dad."
To like thousands of kids.
Yeah, right. And then I give them back to you. I says, no, I really don't have any my biological kids.
Well, I don't either. I have 4-legged furry ones, lots of them over the years, but that's about it. So,
right.
What would you say to someone that's thinking about going out on their own, and they're sitting in a cubicle somewhere, and they're wishing that they didn't have the 9 to 5 and the commute, especially if they live in California. So, what would you say to them?
I would say to them, Tom, that if that's your passion, and you feel that a burning desire to do it, and you think you can make a difference, and there's a need, go ahead and do it. Maybe not diving into it or delving into it 100% at the very beginning, but do it. I mean, don't pass it by, because if you do, 20 years later, you're going to regret it.
Yep, that's for sure. And we never tell anybody to do anything crazy, but a lot of folks have said that keep your 9 to 5 and let that finance your preparations for your new business, and get a little nest egg built up.
Right.
So
I agree.
So give us some tips about bullying and what we can do if we see it. Who do we report it to? What do we do about it? How do parents talk to their kids about it? Give us some insights from your world.
Well, I think parents and adults should be more aware at schools and other places and especially at home and at schools, especially where when something is transpiring between kids that seem like a problem, instead of ignoring it or thinking it's just minor stuff that kids normally do, well, the kid just got slammed to the ground in the restroom, slammed to the floor, and two or three other kids were kicking him or her. You kind of passed it by. Well, you need to really pay more attention and become better aware of what's going on with the children so that you address it. So if it's not a bullying problem, then fine, you addressed it and it's not a problem. If it is, maybe you nipped it in the bud before it got really serious, because the seriousness and the more severe bullying starts off in middle school. In middle school, they start really getting severe. I've taken weapons from kids in school. I've escorted a kid. I heard one kid, I knew the kid, and another kid came to me and says, Mr. Johnson, so-and-so has a knife in his locker. I go, really? So I knew the guy. I said, okay. So I stayed calm, and I went up to the kid because I knew him. He knew me. I says, boy, you know what? Someone says that you had a knife in your locker. Do you have a knife in your locker? Just tell me, we'll get it squared away, but just let me know if you have one. And he hesitated, and he said, yes, I do have one, Mr. Johnson. I said, I tell you what, let's go to the locker, and you give the knife to me, and then we'll both go to the principal's office. Why do you have it in the first place? He says, because I'm being bullied, and I want to get back at him. So we went to his locker, Tom, and he pulled out a knife, and it wasn't a regular little knife. It was a turkey Thanksgiving starving.
Oh my God.
It was a turkey knife, where you just carve the turkey or the chicken, the hen.
Jeez.
And I said, oh my God. And so but it was, no one got hurt. But it's things like that where teachers and adults need to be aware of little signals and signs that arise like that.
This kid wasn't trying to be an active knifer or an active shooter. He was just trying to protect himself because nobody else would, I guess, right?
He was trying to protect himself because he's been bullied over and over again, and no one was really doing anything about it.
We hear stories like that all the time, that when it goes too far, well, we reported it. And is this something that a lot of schools want to push under the rug because it's embarrassing to the school?
I think it is embarrassing for the school because they don't quite know how to handle it. And when they are handling it, in my research, I found that only up to 32% of success, there's 32% success in bullying programs that are in schools now. So that's 68% that's not successful. And one of the reasons why is because they're not really approaching. I approach it a little bit differently. I saw a program on TV, a lot differently, actually. I saw a program on TV where they had a young lady sitting in the middle of the table, about 14 years old, and had two other young ladies sitting on the other end of the table and two on the opposite. So it was two to her right, two to her left, and she was in the middle. Well, the two to the right were the bullies, verbally bullying her. Well, the whole premise of the program was, what are the two to the left, her friends, going to do about stopping the bullying? Well, my approach is, first, what is she going to do? How is the young lady going to be empowered to solve her own bullying problem and not have to depend on the other friends? If they want to help, that's fine, but she should have enough empowerment to do it herself, and that's not what's taught.
And that's what your program is based on?
That's what my program is based on, self-empowerment.
That's really great, Al. You're doing a really great thing.
Thank you.
So some of these, some of the normal questions that I have, it just don't seem appropriate when we have this is a pretty heavy subject. So I think I'm going to skip some of the ones I told you about, but let's just go to some of the standard ones of, what do you like best about working for yourself, and what's the worst part about working for yourself?
What I like, Tom, is the independence and being able to make decisions and do what I'd like to do when I'd like to do it, and not have to worry about, I only have a 15-minute break, or I have a half-hour break, then I got to get back doing something I really don't like to do that well.
Okay.
That type of thing. That's self-empowering to me because it also gives me the opportunity, especially as the program grows, to help others and to give back and to be in a position to do that. And so I don't have to worry about who am I, who can I help, and I'd love to help them, but I can't. I'd love to give them a part-time job, but I can't. Well, this gives me the opportunity to be able to do things like that by working for yourself.
Nice. So I think I will ask you, in all this heaviness, has anything funny come out of it or bizarre come out of any of these interactions with the students and so forth?
Yeah, I've had a lot of funny incidents actually, but one, since it's such a serious subject matter. When I teach it, when parents see me teach it, they go, "Well, wow, you approach such a serious subject matter, and it's not frightening the kids, and they seem to be having fun learning it." And I said, "Well, I try. I let them know without a doubt this is serious." I teach a technique called the stop sign technique, and I think it's very similar to something that I got from you in the brutal self-defense course, where people are coming into your space,
Right.
and you're allowing people to come in. Well, I teach children. I says you have a space zone that's yours and no one else's. And so if someone's trying to enter your space, they only have a certain distance to get close enough to you where you need to make sure they don't do this, or at least they know you don't want them there. Well, the stop sign technique is about a 4 or 5 step situation they learn, and the third step. First of all, they learn how to step back quickly away from the person with using the body language, and their shoulders go back, saying, the body language saying, "Don't come close to me." Then I says, "Now I want you to make the strangest, weirdest face that you've ever made. Like, here's a kid getting in your face that you don't really like this kid. I want to see the weirdest face that you've ever made." Tom, these faces are. I can't stop laughing. So I'm trying to stay serious. And these faces are just cracking me up. And then sometimes the kids are cracking up because they know what they're doing. So it's really a funny training situation. But when it's over, these kids can react in a hurry, and that's what I'm teaching them, to relax, react, and respond.
That's really great. We're kind of kindred spirits, and you've got a great martial arts background. Tell them about it.
Yeah, I started studying the martial arts, Tom, when I was teaching special education in high school, and I used to pass by, when I was in teaching special ed, as you probably know, and maybe the listening audience, many of them know, it's tough because you're working with especially at the teenage level, you're working with 12th, 9th graders, and who are years and years behind academically.
Right.
And as they get older, they tend to get, the behavior problems set in. They don't want anything to do with reading and writing and all that stuff. And many times I was so stressed coming home, and I would pass by this martial arts studio every day, and I just look at it and kept going. And someone said, if you want to get rid of the stress, maybe you should try the martial arts. I says, "What?" I said, "I'd rather grab a 6-pack or something." What are you talking about? They said, No. You try it. So I actually it took me 4 or 5 months to walk into the studio to ask permission to watch a class. So I was sitting there watching this class, and these students, the instructor had them going back and forth and back and forth. This was Tang Soo Do, Chuck Norris system, back and forth, back and forth. And the condensation was coming off the windows and filling the windows, and he wasn't stopping them. And I'm going, "Oh my God, these kids are 15 years younger than I am." And I got up to walk out, and the instructor tapped me on the back, and he said, "Can I help you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Yeah, I thought maybe I wanted to do this, but I'm too old for this." And he looked me right in the eye, Tom, and says, "You know what? If you think you're too old for this, there are probably going to be many other challenges in your life that you're going to think you're too old for and never find out you're not." I'm going, "Oh my God."
Oh man, he got in your face, didn't he?
Oh boy. I signed up the next day. And, I never thought I would stay in it as long as I did. I never thought I would get to the rank that I am. I never thought any of those things at the very beginning, but it was one of the best things I've ever done in my life. And I still do it, of course.
And what rank are you?
I'm a 5th degree.
And what's the system again?
Tang Soo Do and Aikido.
Okay. Yeah, and so it's interesting because I started out in Shur-in-Ryu karate when I was in high school, and we were, walking barefoot and freezing ponds and
Right.
breaking rocks and
Right.
things like that. And I've been pretty much doing this all my life until I was, really got my indoctrination when I had a nightclub for 6 years, and I had bikers trying to kill me, and was in gunfights and knife fights. And,
Right.
I was in probably over 100 violent encounters with bikers, and they shot my car up with shotgun blasts. So I started a thing called brutal self-defense, which you're aware of, and it's interesting because we learn from each other. There's never an old coal miner told me the schoolhouse door is always open.
Exactly.
So I learned from you, you learned from me, and the whole thing is to stay safe, because none of this is us being aggressive. It's us being actually less you can be less aggressive when you know that you don't have to be aggressive.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
and it can diffuse situations. A lot of the ones that puff up are the ones that are going to get knocked out because
Right.
they're pushing things. So tell us how a person can participate. Tell us what do you got going? You say you have an online course that anybody can take?
Yeah, 90% completion of that online course, but it's being set up and that anyone can take, and they can take the 8-week course online. They'll be able to take the 8-week course online, and then of course there is a still the live course where I actually go in and then now training others how to teach it. So it's a whole broad conglomerate of
Well, currently, can you go anywhere outside of California and do it, or
Yes, I can.
You're limited to your local area?
No, I can, Tom, because I'm set up now where I can travel and travel to do it. Everything is set up to be able to do that. And if someone wants to have me come and the program or teach the program in Texas or Virginia or whatever, I can do that. Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Now, the course, is it designed for the parents, or the parents buy it and the kids take it, or both, or what?
It's a combination. It's both, because the books that I have out now, the one main book, and I approach great part of it is with poetry. And this is original poetry that I've written, because poetry is taught in the schools, but not like I'm teaching. These are all anti-bullying training poems. And so the kids act them out, they train them, they learn the words, and which even covers cyberspace bullying also, what to say, how to react to some nasty words coming from the bully online. What do you say to offset that? And there's the main book. Then there's
What's the title of it?
It's Bully Gone Project Poetry Book.
Okay.
And then there is a parent-teacher guide, where the parent and teachers, it's set up where it can be taught in the classroom. This is where I'm approaching administrators, telling them that, look, this is supplemental social skills education, and it covers a lot of the things, Common Core standards that you guys are doing in school, because I was an ex-teacher. So it covers vocabulary, it covers creativity, it covers critical thinking, it covers reading, and all these aspects while they're learning anti-bullying and social skills, because social skills are not taught in the schools.
That's for sure.
And so there's the parent-teacher guide, then there's the main book, and then there's a student workbook. And my program also is racial harmony and harmony, understanding, and tolerance. So I have another book coming out in 2 months that is coming together in harmony, racial harmony, understanding, and tolerance. And that has a workbook also, which is for schools and homes.
So all this stuff will be listed. Now, the website is Bullies Be Gone also?
The website is anti-bully. It's two websites. One is www.antibullyingexpert.com.
Okay, and we're going to have all this in the show notes so they can just click on it.
Okay.
And what's the other one?
The other one is www.bulliesbegoneproject.com.
Bulliesbegoneproject.com. All right, that's great. So we got to take just a brief break for a message from our sponsor, and we will be right back. And Al's going to tell us what a typical day looks like in his business and how he stays motivated. We'll be right back.
Today, almost 2 billion of you will go online, retrieving over 100 billion searches for information, goods, and services. And 6 million of you will view a page on the internet before this commercial is over. The world has changed, and so has the way we do business. At the Internet Marketing Training Center, you can study online at your pace to fit your schedule. And you can graduate with the skills and knowledge to compete in the global marketplace or start your own home-based business. Call us today or go online at imtcva.org, because it's about time. yours.
All right, we're back with the fantastic Al Johnson that's doing a great service for the world with his anti-bullying efforts. And he's still in business for himself, technically. So he screws the commute daily. So what's a typical day look like for you, Al?
I get up, Tom. Some people say I'm an early riser. Some people will say that about themselves. I get up pretty much when I want to get up, but usually it's in the morning, mid-morning, something like that. Check my daily planner to see what I'm going to do and what I need to do that particular day. I check my emails.
Wait a minute. So I'm still stuck on mid-morning. I was like 10 or 11. Is that what you're saying?
about 9:30ish.
Okay. Well, that's still past, I was going to say past rush hour in LA, but it's rush hour all day.
Rush hour. Yeah, right. LA is rush hour forever.
All right. So you get up, you check your email. What else?
I check my email, and then after I check my email, I make some calls that are what I feel necessary. Sometimes they're just follow-up calls to people I've sent information to or proposals to. Follow that up and have something planned that day, that a session or whatever. I prepare myself for that training session. If I have one coming up soon, I'll see where I am in regards to that particular training session and make sure I'm fine-tuning everything in regards to that. And I usually exercise myself, and physical exercise, mental exercise, meditation, and then have my meals during the day. And usually later on in the evening or the afternoon, actually late afternoon, I'm kind of maybe winding down a little bit. And if I want to watch something like an event, sporting event or something, I'll do that. I don't per se look at sitcoms and normal TV shows and all of that. I think that's pretty much a waste of time. I'll listen to some music and that type of thing, and then I'll begin to wind down. And I usually don't go to bed until about after 11 o'clock or so.
So it sounds to me, unless you had a training session, you didn't have to leave the house.
I really didn't. No, I really didn't have to leave the house. I could do pretty much everything right at home. And with the phone, with the computer, and get everything done. Yeah.
That's what we like. So how do you stay motivated when you're there isolated?
I stay motivated because, Tom, the kids that need my help motivate me. Mm-hmm. So if I go, I know realistically that probably 95% of the children and teens do not know the skills that I impart, the skills that I teach. And so when people will ask me, well, how do you know? How can you say 95%? I said, well, over the since 1985, so it's about 32 years or so, I've been teaching thousands of children and teens. And every class that I've had in front of me, I asked them at the end of this 8-week program, I said, do you think your friends, I want you to be realistic, know what you've learned in these last 8 weeks? I've had 100% of the kids say, my friends don't know this. And then I'll say, do you think they should know it? And he says, of course, absolutely. All kids should know it. So since there's 95% out there, and I might be cheating it a little bit, might be more, that don't know what I am, the Bullies Begun Project program training, that keeps me motivated.
Yeah, and I can see how it would. And when you put that, would you say 12%, or what percentage of these kids that don't know are not going to make it?
Yeah, about 12%.
That is really, really scary.
Yep.
So if someone wants to get a hold of you, a school district or an organization wants to bring you in, or even a parent or somebody's asking questions about your course and your books and stuff, how should they reach you?
They can reach me, they can reach me by email. Me at al@antibullyingexpert.com.
We'll have that in the show notes so they can just click on it.
Yeah, and they can also reach me at 100 number
It's on the sites, though, right?
Yeah, it's on the site. 800 numbers on the site, and the regular numbers on the site. And, of course, they can reach me on the website itself.
Well, that's really great, Al. I'm so proud to know you, somebody that's doing such good work. And you don't have to be doing this, but, boy, I can just imagine the number of children you've saved and the parents that are thankful that you exist in the world.
Well, so, thank you. A lot of my education about all this has come from you. And
well, I appreciate that. Yeah, but it's
knowing you over the years, and the statement that you just made is an enlightening statement that came that I hadn't thought about up until a few years ago. I actually had a few parents that to me, and they said, "Mr. Johnson, have you ever thought about all the lives of the children that you're probably saving?" I'm going, excuse me? I hadn't thought of it that way at that time, but they said, yeah, you are. And I'm going, wow, thank you. And it just brought a whole new different perspective to the program that, yeah, I actually could be saving lives.
Yeah, every time you look at a child or talk to one of those childs in a program, that could be the one that exists now because of you. And that's a really powerful thing. I mean, I like to rescue animals and stuff, but there's nothing compared to what you're doing. So, thanks so much for taking the time to talk with me, and I hope it inspired a lot of people out there to get behind this effort to support you. Like I said, I'm going to get you in touch with that grant writing person to help that along, because there's got to be money out there for something like this. This is such a national, actually international topic, and then the First Lady's, I think, on board with this too.
Mm-hmm.
So that should help stimulate some interest. So thanks, Al. We really appreciate you coming on. And for everybody else, this was episode 18 with Al Johnson. And coming up, next episode is going to be a training session, how to create quality products from nothing. That's what I'll be doing a whole session on myself. And don't forget, the Internet Marketing Training Center of Virginia is a place where you can get a 6-month education that won't break the bank, but will make some bank for you, because it's an in-demand skill, and many, many people need your services to do their blogs, do their social media, do all these kinds of things that most small business people won't do. So check it out at imtcva.org, and we'll see all you screwballs next time.